Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode here. My 48 team custom league franchise mode on NHL 23. Today, the Austin Matthews era in Toronto begins in 2024, not 2016. Yes, the Austin Matthews era begins. Our huge free agent signing in the aftermath of course, starting this 48 team league as a fantasy draft has led us to this point where our roster looks like this. I took your consideration from the comments and we have shifted some things around. We're going to try a few different things throughout the season. We are going to start off with this top line. We have also changed our coach. Our AHL head coach has become our NHL head coach, and they have essentially swapped places. But I'm feeling pretty confident about this. We called up Brad Lambert to be able to drop Josh Anderson down to the fourth line. That is a very expensive fourth liner, by the way, but we'll cross that potential problem bridge when we come to it. Can't say Brad Lambert won't have some solid protection to his left and to his right if someone tries to cheap shot him, essentially. But while the defense, of course, is still young and getting better, the goaltending should be very solid. This could be a very, very special year for us here in Toronto. Before we get going, though, just to double check the coaching staff, I'm pretty sure we had fully optimized and everything. Yep, that's all well and good. Captaincy is an interesting one, given that, a certain Jack Hughes has been here, a certain Austin Matthews. Yeah, sorry, Josh Anderson, that's not going to happen. A certain Austin Matthews is kicking around. I mean, we're not going to give Blake Wheeler a letter. I mean, the Winnipeg Jets already decided that was a bad idea, so we won't follow the same mistakes. Let's be honest. The real captain, the heart and soul of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Mark Giordano. Along with that, we will give Matthews and Hughes letters, and we'll see who ends up earning the captaincy over time. But Mark Giordano is our man, and heading into the start of this new season, let's take a look at these particular ratings. Man, what is with the jersey glitch every time, huh? Every single time. Here we go. 96, 84, 87 compared to Tampa's 84, 79. I think that was an 86 there at the end. So yeah, we're looking pretty good. And with Austin Matthews at the helm, I'm feeling pretty good about what the season should be, could be, hopefully will be. And sooner rather than later, we'll get to say is, I hope. Let's get to simming. We'll go to January before we contemplate any significant changes. Of course, with the way we have set up the schedule, all Eastern Conference opponents. There's no interleague play, essentially. The only matchup between East and West is in the Stanley Cup Finals because, hey, when you have 48 teams, 24 down the middle, you can afford to do that. You don't have to play on the other side. That said, we're not exactly crushing it to begin this season, which is concerning given, of course, that we play the same teams pretty much over and over again. 8-6-1. Not quite what I had in mind. Maybe instead of, December 1st that I stopped it? If I wasn't going to stop it on December 1st before, I'm certainly going to now, as we're a little bit hit or miss at this stage. I mean, 12-8-1's not bad. We're hanging around in terms of being towards the top of this division, although the division really means nothing, again, with the way that the league structure has been set up. Can we beat Montreal for a strong end to the month? No, we could not. So 16-11-1 with Jack Hughes actually leading this team in points, which is concerning to me because it really should be Austin Matthews. Eastern Conference right now, season ends today. Look at the difference in games played for some teams. Let's go off of points percentage. Season ends today. We are not in the playoffs. We are 2 spots out. Not worth panicking over, but still not entirely ideal. Best team in the league right now, by the way, the Milwaukee Guardians, at least off of points percentage. But yeah, Florida on 31 games already. It's pretty wild. Let's look at the team, see if there's anything we can kind of change up about this. So we know Jack Hughes on 38 points. Matthews, 19 goals, 15 assists. That's certainly solid. And yeah, while he's improving, Dylan McKinnon would he be better suited on a different line, you know? Dylan Guenther, 23 points in 28 games, a -3. Marco Kasper is not quite cut out for that second line. And then Pacioretty, 18 points. Eklund on 15. Savoy on 20. What about that fourth line really quickly? 4 points, -5 for Boucher. 5 points and a -4. Oh, boy, that fourth line. That fourth line's not exactly getting it done right now, are they? Okay. I think we have a couple of things we can change. First and foremost, I want to look at the free agent list. We have $11 million in space. I want to look at free agent centers. And I wanted to see if there was a veteran who would fit. Now, Jay Beagle is there. He's not as dominant of a centerman as he'll be with my custom rosters because it's about the same rating. But literally the only thing he's good at is winning faceoffs at this stage of his career. I might have to look elsewhere to try and find more of a gritty fourth liner who would be a better fit for that, for that fourth line. Let's take a look at outright faceoffs. Jay Beagle is the best of the bunch. Cody Eakin is also out there. If those are the two that I'm looking at to kind of save the day, that does not paint a very pretty picture now, does it? So I don't have too much confidence in that fourth line at the moment. It's been a little bit disappointing. So what we're going to do, I'm not all that impressed with Marco Kasper having the same point total as William Eklund. I'd say for obvious reasons. What I would like to do is move Dylan Guenther over to that right-hand side. I don't know if he's going to be the one to play. I mean, good shot, 92 offensive awareness. Blake Wheeler could certainly fit that line pretty well. So could Savoy. We want Eklund on the fourth line. Eklund, Kasper, Savoy as a third line is phenomenal. Oof, well, there's our answer. +5, Hughes, Matthews, Wheeler. Then a +1 between Pacioretty, McKinnon, and Dylan Guenther, whatever you prefer. Only thing I'm really concerned about is that fourth line, then. It's a shame that Boucher nor Anderson can take those draws. And, of course, outside of that, we'd be looking, honestly, at someone like Cole Huckins. Maybe we give him an opportunity a little bit sooner than we thought. You know what? What's it hurt? I mean, he's better than the free agent options that are out there. So I feel bad for Brad Lambert. I don't think it's his fault. I mean, we have him saddled with a couple of guys who you don't really expect too much out of. So maybe the thought is like, hey, screw it. You're all huge. Just hit people. That's all we're looking for. Just hit people. We'll go best lines in the AHL. Oof. And certainly at least maneuver some of these people around. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. What can we do to escape that fourth line? There we go. Can we do to escape that third line? And what can we do? There we go. Perfect. I'm not going to worry too much beyond that. That will suffice. So McKinnon gets his own line on that second line. I didn't check out the defense, actually. We were so focused on the forwards, but again, we have that versatility. Edvinsson and Drysdale have been fine. Korchinski and Clark have been fine. Honestly, the defense has been pretty good. Solely from a plus-minus perspective. So Ottinger a 902, Grubauer a 918. So, of course, it would be a higher-rated goalie who is completely struggling that would yet again look to be costing us games. That is a tale as old as time. Within franchise mode is, hey, you have a good goalie, guess what? The better he is, the worse he'll perform. And you could argue it's because higher expectations, but at the same time, I think it's realistic expectations that you set for a higher rated goalie. But it is what it is, and so far this month, I mean, still a couple of losses, but decent. We have 2 more games here. We lose to the Islanders and we lose to Halifax. So 24, 15, and 1. Second place in the division, obviously pretty far behind Boston at this stage, who have 4 games in hand. which is highly unfortunate. And Hughes has an assist per game right now. He has been absolutely outstanding. We are getting towards that midway point of the season, though, and again, the top 8 teams in the conference make the playoffs. So right now, we actually would be in the playoffs with the 7th best points percentage in the conference. Not that bad, but it is still a pretty damn tight race at this stage. So we'll see what happens, but we're where we want to be, at the very least, given the talent level of this team. We didn't give it a ton of time, but let's take a look at Cole Huckins really quickly. Hey, there you go. 12 games, 4 points, +4. Let's go. Boucher is looking a little bit better. And let's take a look here. I mean, McKinnon up to 16 and 13. He seems to be benefiting well. So far, so good here. Austin Matthews, only 25 goals in 40 games. I would like a higher pace than that. Ottinger really started to turn it around as well in terms of save percentage. So I'm feeling great right now after those results. I don't think we're really going to have to look at changing much until the trade deadline comes around, and then that'll be the big question, right, for this episode and this season, is whether or not we actually do anything in regards to the trade deadline. And I suppose right now we're just basing that off of who performs and who doesn't. You know, I think the obvious thing to look at would be defensive improvements. You know, maybe shelter some of the younger guys a little bit, bring in a rental gem. I mean, from how it's looking right now, we're not necessarily going to need our first round pick. 32, 18, and 2. Love to see it. Hughes still leading the way. We're only 2 points behind the Bruins, who still have 5 games at hand. The schedule is very, very wonky, but I got to be honest, I love it. I love that there's that amount of separation like you'd see IRL. Of course, Nashville in the East is always going to be weird. We are currently a top 5 team in the conference, only behind Halifax, Philadelphia, Nashville, and Boston. In the West, it's Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, Milwaukee, Oklahoma City, Portland, San Diego, and Arizona. Worst teams right now, and let's just look in a general sense. It is indeed the Anaheim Ducks, the Seattle Kraken, and Detroit, which, I mean, we play Detroit a lot. So you'd like to think we'd be able to further take advantage of the fact that they are pretty bad. Let's keep it going. Why not? I mean, we'll do a little bit of scouting before the first, or at least on the first, as we beat Detroit. We did just lose to them before, but at least we got a bit of revenge. But yeah, before that game against Boston, on the first, 3 out of our last 4 we've lost. Shutout against Carolina, not bad. And we need to make up the ground against the Bruins as well, so that loss kind of hurt. But we'll do a little bit of scouting. We'll take a look at the league leaders and stuff like that and see if there is anybody on the team who is sort of a prime candidate to be replaced moving forward. But 40, 20, and 2, the day before the deadline, still only behind Boston. And I would have to imagine we are fairly secure in a playoff spot as it stands. And there you go. 3rd best team in the Eastern Conference by points percentage, only behind Boston and Nashville on 109 points with this structure. And I mean, we got a decent little safety net here. I mean, you look at points percentage, a lot of these teams, the Blue Jackets are a bit different, but a lot of these teams have yet to clear 100 points. So this is certainly ours to throw away in regards to securing a playoff spot this season, which was absolutely the target. As Jack Hughes under an assist per game, but still at 72 points in 62. Matthews 35 and 35. You gotta wonder. I mean, his shooting percentage is still high. Is it costing him to be on a line with Jack Hughes? And then Blake Wheeler, 57 points in 62 games. He's been great for what Blake Wheeler is at this stage. How many shots has Jack Hughes taken? 126. Yeah, I mean, Matthews still shoots a lot. You could honestly argue, like, playing Austin Matthews with Tyler Boucher and Josh Anderson. You legitimately could argue that, because you know those two aren't going to shoot a ton, and obviously we're basing that off a 4th line time. But that way you pretty much know Matthews is the one, just for shits and giggles, it would be a +1. That way you pretty much know Matthews is the guy that's taking the shots. As Pacioretty, I believe, has gone down by 2 points this year so far. 49 points in 62, though, was very solid. His shooting percentage is down quite a bit. He's not taking as many shots. Dylan McKinnon, loving life on that second line. That's certainly his spot. He and Dylan Guenther have worked out pretty well together. And then Eklund, 15 and 18, 17, 14. Honestly, I don't think forward-wise we have to change a damn thing. And Cole Hawkins has been perfect. Absolutely perfect for that fourth line. It's just my only concern is, and maybe it's the wrong concern to have. Austin Matthews only has 35 goals. But look at how much offense we have. It's not as if everyone else's stats suck. I mean, we're going to finish with at least 5 players, maybe 6 or 7 with 20 goals. Defensively, Edvinsson and Drysdale have been great. Korchinski and Clark have been great. Can we get defenders who are higher rated? Sure. Do we have to? Not necessarily. We do have Dominic Bach hanging around for forward depth. Same with like Mizak and Lamberts. And then defensively, I do understand the idea. And my God, have they had this negative setup all season long? That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. Defensively, we could certainly look to bring in better insurance. Let's just go best lines. I was hoping that would kind of fix it up a little bit. Apparently not, but good with going best lines. And again, letting the game kind of adjust. Although, boy, it loves these negative setups, doesn't it? That's a shame. How do we get rid of that fourth line? How do we? Something's got to solve it, right? Nope. Okay, well, we'll leave a -1 on the fourth line. We'll take a look on deadline day. 50 wins for the Marlies, by the way. Connor Geekie is crushing it. We will take a look at on deadline day here in a second for what is out there and if there is a move that makes sense. I think that's our best approach. We will obviously list ourselves as buyers, and let's go to the deadline, where Victor Hedman is the top name out there. Jacob Chychrun, Jacob Trouba, and a Bo Horvat, who we certainly don't need. If I use find a trade for Victor Hedman, Jack Hughes and Kavanaugh, obviously not going to happen. Like, I'm a little bit worried about Matthews and Hughes being on the same line, but that's not going to happen, as nice as Victor Hedman would be. Chychrun in Seattle, Ottinger, a second and a fourth, Lindstein, a first and a second, 2 first-round picks, or Connor Geekie. I doubt I pull the trigger on this, to be honest. Chychrun this season been pretty bad defensively, or at least Seattle's been bad. His deal is coming up. I mean, that's a rental, but not really, because Lindstein's a part of our future, so not willing to do that either. What about Jacob Trouba, who swung and missed on a hit the other night? That was great. Lambert in 2 seconds. Mizak, Boucher, a first, a second, and 90. Don't think it's worth it. For what we're going to get out of Jacob Trouba, I just don't know if it's worth it. The Chushkin, Justin Falk. I'd like to think that we're okay. And maybe I'm wrong. But I really would like to think that we are okay at this stage. Like, I always want to make sure that we do bring in a proper amount of depth. But the fact that we still have a first-round pick, we have 3 seconds as well. We are set up very, very well at this stage. I mean, the only thing that I'd really want to do... shopping Grubauer actually worked. And we could just bring in anybody. Shit, we could bring in Keith Kincaid behind him. Honestly? Is there a defenseman in the mix? Slater Cuckoo. Philip Grubauer to Indy for Keith Kincaid. Done deal. Out of nowhere. I really didn't expect to get an offer. I guess he's played well enough. We can go look for a backup that's better than Kincaid. Although he does have decent numbers in the... okay numbers, I suppose. Now we just go look for a decent backup. I can't believe we just got rid of that contract. That's tremendous news. So defensively, like I said, we don't have much to do. Wait for Lindstein and Kavanaugh to develop if they do. I think we're pretty much set. Josh Anderson, though. If I can get rid of that contract too, I probably should. Oh, goodness. Okay. So it's shaking up the backup goalie and the fourth line right wing spot. That shouldn't be make or break for us, and that frees up a lot of cap. I was hoping there was a Western team. I believe we have Minnesota in the West. Oklahoma City. Josh Anderson to Oklahoma City for a 6th round pick. Done deal. Done deal. Let's go find a 4th line right wing. In fairness, it could be Dominic Bach, for that matter. Let's go find a 4th line right wing and a backup goalie. And we should be perfectly fine. Let's do it, actually. Let's just go to the proposed trade screen. We should be okay. Actually, let's go over to Trade Finder, just in case. Just in case. So, goalie-wise, we need to find a backup goaltender. Of course, Vancouver only have 3 goalies signed. This game is still terrible. Cam Talbot has a 911 this season. 1 year left for him. You got Aiden Hill out there with a 903. Honestly, Keith Kincaid is probably fine. But we could afford to spend. Forsberg at a 901. Is there a team that has just a couple of good goalies? Most of these rosters have 3 goalies. Go figure. Is there a team that has 3 good goalies somehow? The Montreal Canadiens have made a trade. Is there a deal that makes sense for us here? There we go. Something like that. James Reimer. The 914. We will probably go back and talk to Chicago. That is exactly the type of team that I was looking for. Was getting rid of a decent goalie. We're not going to try to bring in Saros. As well, Indianapolis now has Grubauer, Fleury, Halak. Fleury only has a 904 this year. He and Halak are both signed beyond this year. Yarrow at 39 years old might retire, but I am still digging that chance to go talk to Chicago. And boy, the AI still just have no understanding whatsoever when it comes to trying to actually have goalies on their roster. It's pretty sad. Matt Murray, go figure, Leafs legend, is also available. He has struggled. Right now it's New Jersey and Chicago. Islanders are shopping Allmark. Okay. So for Chicago, what would the deal be for James Reimer? 5th round pick. Literally nothing in exchange for James Reimer. Which, to be honest, probably wins out. Although Matt Murray is on the block. Trade Finder didn't find anything. I'm sure I could get him easily. It's 8 o'clock. Go back over to Chicago. Do we have... Well, they have Mitch Marner. I was going to say, do we have a gritty 4th liner? Comfer is signed for a bit too long. So they don't really have what I'd want for a winger. The Devils with Cole Caulfield, but who doesn't love them some Ty Ronning? Not that he's a perfect fit for 4th line grinder role, but it is Ty frickin' Ronning. And who else did we have? Who else did we have? I don't think we looked at the Warhogs yet. Ooh, 84 rated Alnefelt. Okay. Islanders, that's right. Tomasino McIntyre, that's not looking good. Well, we do have options, even though, again, I don't necessarily think a backup goalie is all that required. Eustace Anowin's out there. He hasn't signed yet. We just got rid of Josh Anderson, Dennis Mulligan, Austin Zarnik. Nothing too crazy. Anything to go well with Alnefelt? Hello. Corey Perry. 1 year deal. 4th liner, Corey Perry. Plus minus is pretty shit, but that's a decent little Josh Anderson replacement. Corey Perry and Hugo Alnefelt. Now, it won't directly find a trade with the open block. Ooh, I just realized Alnefelt signed for 5 years. Jesus. Maybe not, Omaha. Maybe not. Honestly, Keith Kincaid might be our backup. If not, we throw it over to some of the younger guys. And one last chance, maybe, with the Portland Tree Choppers for Caden Primo. Pasternak, Gunler. It's going to be tough to find the things we need from just one team. With the way the hockey world has been spread thin here. Sam Montembeault out of San Francisco might not be that bad. Armia for the fourth line. How long is he signed for still? Oh, good. It's the last year of his deal. All right. I mean, what do we think? Armia and Montembeault? Honestly, I'm digging that. I'm going to have to go set that trade up, but let's go talk to San Francisco. So, in theory, we have downgraded. At the same time, have we really, though? You know, we just shed, what, $10 million of salary? Have Anderson replaced with Armia, who should be great on the PK. And then we can also bring in Sam Montembeault to work with Keith Kincaid. And that way we kind of have our butts covered when it comes to a backup goalie, if the kind of worst case scenario were to happen. So in terms of who we would want to give up here to get this deal to go through, we really shouldn't have to give up that much. I mean, Odevainen might get a little bit better, so I don't really want to give him up. What about Jugan? Medium 9. He does have make it snappy, so maybe not. Maybe not you. What about, 90's to 74. I mean, Dominic Bach, but I want to hold on to him just to make sure things still work out. What about Goyette? I don't know how much more we'll have to do. Won't have to do anything. Goyette for Armia and Sam Montembeault. So there we go. That's our depth immediately replaced, and we opened up a crap load of cap space in the meantime. So I'd like to think between, if Ottinger is terrible, Montembeault or Kincaid, like one of them should be able to do something. Outside of that, I think we're good. You know, again now, fourth line, we can try Armia, we can try Dominic Bach. One of the two should be able to do good enough to replace Josh Anderson. I didn't necessarily plan on getting rid of Grubauer or Anderson, but again, it worked out pretty well. I'd like to think we're okay, but at the same time, that temptation is there to go out and just get a big fish. You know? The temptation's certainly there. With Victor Hedman on Memphis, I don't know if I have another way to pull off this trade, but I could certainly try. I mean, yeah, he has maximum value. Like, you are literally talking a Jack Hughes or completely leveraging the future to get a Victor Hedman. Likely. If we give up Winther and Versi, again, who the hell's Hedman even going to replace? Like, do we fix that issue when it's not even really an issue? Does shoring up the team actually help? He's likely to be a rental, although with the amount of money we've saved, maybe he isn't. I mean, he's 34 years old and a fucking 95 overall. I'm going to explore this. I can't guarantee I am pulling the trigger on this particular trade, but I do want to explore the possibility. Get Ratu in there. Honestly, Noah Ostlund could be used. Gonna have to get rid of centers. I mean, this isn't even close, though. Even with a first-round pick, I can't imagine this is close. Yeah, it's not. We'll leave it at that, then. So, this deadline, we contemplated getting some big fish, but for the most part, didn't need them. And instead, somehow, as Bo Horvat's been traded to Nashville, somehow... Ooh, Cole Fonstad. How good are you? You're okay. Let's pick you up. Why not? You can help out the AHL. We somehow managed to shed a good amount of cap. As surprising as that is. Now, it is putting Dominic Bach in by default. It is also running Keith Kincaid as our backup. Let me go best lines really quickly. It takes out Tyler Boucher. We'll have Boucher replace Bach because he hasn't necessarily been bad. I still really like that fourth line. And really like this team in general. I mean, how could you not? It's pretty damn good. And then, yeah, the AHL, again, just to quickly flip things around if I can. Somehow always make that a problem for me. There we go. AHL still looking pretty damn good. at this stage. We'll keep that 1-1, but all things considered, pretty happy about where this team is likely going. Let's get that confirmation. We should be playoff bound. I still have some concerns about playing Jack Hughes with Austin Matthews and feeling like there's just not enough puck to go around, given those two being on the same line. But for now, when we continue to win for the most part, I mean, God, the Bruins just absolutely dunked on us. I guess even in this reality, the Bruins are going to be kryptonite. But all things considered, 46 wins. Oh my God. I mean, I know we beat the Bruins in the top right, but like, Jesus, can we win consecutive games against the Bruins? I got a feeling that's going to be pretty important given how good they are. It's April 1st. We have 5 games left, 48 wins. We've actually fallen below the Beacons off of a game at hand for them. The Bruins have clinched a playoff spot with 48 wins in the Eastern Conference. We are the 4th best team. And to fall back, I mean, we're on 133 points. We're not falling out at this stage. Like, it would take the collapse of all collapses. And look, I get that we're the Toronto Maple Leafs, but this should be fine. The Beacons and Bruins are both in. A win against Washington might just do it, and it does. So we are indeed returning to the playoffs this year. It's just going to be a matter of seeding as we simulate these final few games. Can we get a final win here against Quebec, who will not be playoff bound? We do. And that pushes us for the moment to the number 1 spot, in which the Bruins jump us by 1 point in the division. That is heartbreaking. But the Bruins take the Northeast Division by 1 point because of 2 overtime losses. That sucks. But all things considered, it's pretty good. We are playoff bound, the 4th seed, alongside Nashville, Boston, the Islanders, Halifax, Columbus, Florida, and Philadelphia. Of course, we'll take a look at that western side of the bracket in a minute as well. It is worth noting that Nashville, on tiebreaker, did beat both Arizona and Dallas for the President's Trophy. We finished 6th in the NHL. And your bottom few teams here, only 1 custom team. So some of the OG NHL teams, of course, are not OG in an original 6 sense. Well, Detroit, but yeah, they are hurting. Now, my big question here is about our offense, which is top 5. The expected goaltending and defense at 2.44. Second best defense / goaltending in terms of goals against average in the top 5 offense. That's what you love to see. Now, Austin Matthews did top Jack Hughes in terms of points. They actually both finished with 87. 44 goals for Austin. Not bad. Not $15 million good, though. Like I said, I mean, he did take 300 shots, so he's not totally being hindered in his amount of shots, but I'm just a little bit surprised, really. But Hughes, phenomenal season. Blake Wheeler, old man Wheeler, did very, very well for himself, as did Pacioretty, our 2 kind of hired guns for the season. Dylan Genther was loving life on the second line. Dylan McKinnon likely won the Calder. We'll have to see if anybody can compete with that. He took a crap load of shots, too. Matthew Savoy was great on the third line. He, Eklund, and Casper, the kid line, basically awesome. Awesome. I'm very, very happy with having put that line together. And then how did Armia do once he was here? 5 points in 19 games to the +1. Probably gets a chance in the playoffs. You know, we don't really know what Dominic Bach is capable of. And shout out to Cole Huckins. He's my dream 4th liner, baby. A player that we used before in a franchise mode. Stepping back in, doing well. You love to see it. Drysdale on 46 points. Honestly, the point production for these defensemen, pretty damn good. Even Chris Tanev scored 5 goals this year. So, happy with that. And then goalie-wise, Ottinger's our guy. Sam Montembeault is not going to be the backup. That'll be Keith Kincaid as we start the playoffs. So, we'll see what happens with that. Leon Draisaitl led the league in points. He and Pasternak were up there. Shout out to Max Comtois for Colorado, who was way up there. Top goal scorers with 54 each. Ovi, Draisaitl, and Brad Marchand. You had Kyle Connor and David Pasternak also hit 50. So Matthews was up there by the end of it. Most shots, by the way, 356, so Matthews wasn't that far off. You can see him there at the bottom again. Defensively, great season for Makar, great season for Chris Letang, Dougie Hamilton again, 28 goals for him, which is insane. And the goaltending, the winningest was Ottinger with 43 wins and 67 appearances. Not bad. Shutout leader, though, with 9 was Jonathan Quick. And in terms of save percentage, the king looks to be UC Saros. Rookie race, it's so heartbreaking. Henrik Josefsson is going to steal the Calder away from Dylan McKinnon. He had it if it wasn't for this guy. The first overall pick in the same draft, of course. Heartbreaking as Henrik Josefsson scores 41 goals and will likely win the Calder over our boy. With that, playoffs are confirmed. We will see how the adventure begins in the next episode as we take on the Halifax Beacons. 50-win Halifax Beacons. Let me know what you think about the lines and whether or not, do we look at breaking up Matthews and Hughes? I really do like this particular line here. I don't really want to get rid of that. We'd lose the +5 for what that's worth, but I like it. It's just, I don't know. Am I right to be disappointed in Austin Matthews with 45 goals? Let me know. My expectations are maybe too high. Let me know what you think. Playoffs in general, though, you got Arizona, Milwaukee, Dallas, San Diego, Edmonton, Colorado, Oklahoma City, and Portland. In the East, it is Nashville, Philadelphia, Boston, Florida, the Islanders, and Blue Jackets, and we play Halifax. The AHL is, of course, going to be a bit of a mess, but what's worth noting, of course, is that your Toronto Marlies will take on the Laval Rocket in round number 1. Of course, all the Swedish and Finnish teams mixed in is goofy as all hell, but 63 wins for the Marlies. Needless to say, expectations are high for them. They're certainly high now for the NHL team as well.